Ruby,
There he is.
right on time. Let's see, who's got more pictures on the wall, you or me?
You got more pictures.
I win.
So how's everything good? It looks like I think we only got about a half hour. You know, Zoom is they're gonna try to cut me short as always. So we'll try to get
Okay.
it going real quick for you. But anyway, I tell you, I was just looking over the bill that they're sponsoring, and it's just I don't know, I don't get it. The whole thing sounds really really negative, but that's the way it is, I guess. So
Well, the
anyway.
wording of the bill is always talking about the negative aspect of history. They are bringing up genocide, the way they word it, and all the horrific things that happened with slavery, and they make it so that's the reason why they want to eliminate Columbus Day, because they want to address those things that happened to the Native Americans. But they just assume that's who they should blame, and this is going to solve their problems, or something that happened supposedly 600 years ago that he had nothing to do with, as far as the North America issues with our American Indians. It's such a stretch. It's so
I mean, Columbus never touched. He never set foot
North America.
Yeah. Well, what is today? What is today? The United States. I mean, he never. I think the closest he ever got was to Florida, was Cuba, I guess.
No, he got to Panama. Got to Central America.
He went to Central America, but he never got to the United States. What is today the United States? He never touched base
got to North America
on whatever the
distinction. Yeah. Of course, he hit all the islands, and that was fine. And but it's the same bill that they tried to pass last year and the year before that. It comes up continuously. It's a simple wording, and as you said, it's very negative how they address the issue. In fact, here's the wording right here.
Yeah, I got the wording right in front of me. We're actually recording right now, so let me just read it off to the folks. And this is like, you got two bills pending, right? You got one in the House,
and one in the
you
Senate.
got one in the Senate.
Well, they're identical. It's the same bill that reads the same way.
Right, and it just says here, it says the governor shall annually issue a proclamation setting apart the second Monday in October as Indigenous Peoples Day and recommending that it be observed by the people with appropriate exercises in the schools and otherwise to acknowledge the history of genocide and discrimination against Indigenous peoples, and to recognize and celebrate the thriving cultures and continued resistance and resilience of Indigenous peoples and their tribal nations. The reason why I laugh about that, because the word continued resistance, I guess they're going to fight it out with us again, or I don't know.
Truly, that's actually what they're doing. They're relitigating history.
Yeah.
History and they just have to pick out somebody, and Columbus is the perfect scapegoat for them to make their issue. Because when you think about it, if they really wanted to be honest about this, they should probably eliminate July 4th and every other national holiday we have as a government, as a country, they call the United States, out of their anger for retribution and the pain that they were caused, not by Columbus, by supposedly the United States of America. I mean, that's what their issue is. They're the ones who broke their treaties. They're the ones that supposedly purposely had the Indian wars with them and did whatever they could and spread the disease, etc. But it's such a ludicrous argument. I mean, if that's what they want to talk about, then go after the United States of America. Columbus
go after the Northern European settlers that attacked you in the Wild West. But they
don't exist anymore. So they might as well go to a sovereign nation where Columbus doesn't even exist. If we didn't have statues and a holiday, they wouldn't be using him, would they? They'd be finding something else to make their argument. We're just convenient. And they do it with such insensitivity to our Italian culture and to a lot of Americans who believe in this as an important part of our history. They don't care. I can't imagine if we blame them for something that we could probably point the finger at some of the horrific things that our Native Americans were accused of and said, we're just going to take away everything that you care about because we want to recognize something that belongs to us.
Right.
I feel like such a jerk to try to do something like that.
Right.
At their expense so I can gain. But they have no interest in talking to us.
Yeah, they don't want to reason at all with this. We've offered a lot of compromises also with them. We've offered to fund statues for them and fund learning workshops and this sort of thing, but they won't have it. They want Columbus Day to be Indigenous. They want Columbus out of here. That's what they want.
And you know what, too? If they are, also would want to eliminate Thanksgiving.
Yes, that's next.
They call it a day of mourning.
Right. Yes.
So
right.
this is how antagonistic they are. And Thanksgiving had a role to do with, from Abraham Lincoln creating the holiday during the Civil War, to bring people together to feel like, as crappy as everything is going on right now,
right?
Let's try to find something that we can feel like we're thankful for. No, they're going to go back to 1620. They're going to make it turn into something else. It's so wrong. And it's so hard because I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to somebody that I hope to reason with that could understand this logical thing. And you think anybody that's voting for their particular point has read half the books that you and I have read on the history of Columbus that tells the truth? I mean, I got them right here. Look at all the books that were written on the history of Columbus, showing that he's actually a incredible historic figure of courage and conviction in devotion to try to make the world a better place. This was 600 years ago, and they're trying to judge him a man from 600 years ago. He was way ahead of his time as far as being somewhat considerate towards other people. The world back then, they had no respect for human life, and neither did the indigenous people or Native Americans from 600 years ago. You know that. They were massacring and sacrificing.
Sure, yeah,
like crazy. But no, I didn't want to bring up like, you were just as bad as they.
Right.
They don't even allow a conversation longer than you and I are talking right now.
Right, they just cut you off, and that's all. They just go with what Howard Zinn told them, and that's it.
Right, and Howard Zinn is one of the most anti-American people that came out of the Vietnam War, and I was at BU at the time when he was leading the protests. And with my fellow students, of course, they had Chavez on their. They're such fools. I mean, The left they think they're fighting for social justice and something noble, but they're really destructive, and they would like to destroy every society and build it the way they want. And if it's not the way they want, they don't care about democracy or individual rights or freedoms. They're phonies.
Yeah, this is all part of what they've tried to do since the 50s, when they tried to infiltrate American society, turn it upside down, destroy us from within, take away our culture, take away our history, take away our traditions, divide the family, do all these things to bring us down. And we just see it happening right now. That's what's going on.
And that's the formula for any good communist.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely, and when you say communist too, people think, oh, come on. No,
folks. It's true.
It's alive and well. Yeah, exactly.
They make it sound like these are made up boogeymen or something. No, the world really does not want to be. Tell you the truth, even our government, the United States of America, if you talk to real politicians and even go back to FDR, they kind of idolize the communistic system because they basically know running a government under a communistic totalitarian state, it's a lot easier. You don't have to have the messiness of a republic or a democracy. And these presidents of the past, they said, oh, please, do I have to deal with all these morons out here? I just want to tell them what to do.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if your constituents complain to you, just kill them.
Yeah, right. Honestly, I know. They
put them in a gulag or someplace like that.
They said, geez, they were envious of dictators and presidents.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
Well, they had to deal with us. They had
to. We're bad. They don't want to deal with us. No, because 9 times out of 10, we tell them things they don't want to hear because they're doing something wrong, and we catch them on it. That's what happens. Right.
Oh, geez, do we have to really tell them what we're thinking and get their opinion? No, can't I just make a law? And you know what? I'll tell you the truth. Here we have a holiday in Boston City, Columbus Day, and what Janie did. Dictator Janie, former temporary mayor of Boston, she on the last day before she was thrown out and lost.
Right. Yes.
She does an executive order. Is that a perfect example? Does she discuss it with anybody? No. She does an executive order. Columbus Day is gone. So she makes the Native Americans happy that got into her ear, and she basically wanted to screw somebody as she walked out the door, and she did it. That's a dictatorial move.
That was one of the most spiteful things I've ever seen a politician do.
Literally,
just at the last moment, stab somebody, try to stab their tongue into the back.
Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to really dump on somebody. Imagine if we did that to and she happens to be our first black mayor because Walsh left to Boston and worked with Biden. She never was elected. But there she was. Imagine if we did something to the black community, and I'm a white guy leaving at the last minute, and I decided to maybe do something that would make the minority community of Boston really upset, and that's the last thing I did. She did it. Unbelievable. That would have been, you would have heard about that nationwide if I did something like that she did.
Well, what was the Italian mayor that they had? Marino, if he did something like that, or
a Menino.
Yeah, Menino, right? If he did something like that, yeah, sure. Everybody would raise holy hell.
Oh, gosh, it would have been a scandal.
Yeah, so, but exactly. So, But so let me ask you this. So you got two bills that are right. You got the House and the Senate. But last year we had the same problem, but we stopped it in committee. But I guess they could just keep it going, I guess. Is that what they could do?
That's one of the things they're trying to do. They're hoping to get it out of committee. They've already got the people petitioning and putting a ballot referendum out there. And if they got a ballot referendum that's binding, that's one way they can circumvent the political powers that maybe make it difficult for the lead to get out of the committee.
Oh, okay.
Now, if they get it on the referendum, and our whack job Massachusetts progressives, we got 880,000 Italian Americans in Massachusetts. We organized them all. We'd kill any referendum because majority would not want to pass to eliminate Columbus Day. But I don't know how you get everybody to vote. Everybody's so lethargic, as you know, truly.
Yeah, right.
You're lucky if you get 30% of the people to vote in state elections or referendums. Anyways, that's how they would plan to end run the legislator that might not get it out of committee for a floor vote. So we'll bring it to the people and hope that they vote in favor of this idea of getting rid of Columbus Day because, but they make it sound like, well, 20 communities have already gotten rid of Columbus Day. They write it in their little notes. Do you know how many communities and towns are in Massachusetts?
How many?
360. So they write 20 have already decided to get rid of it. Like, oh, that's like 20 out of what? 25? No, it's 20 out of 360.
Yeah, that's out of the Marxist playbook to try and take like a small number and make believe that it defines the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because people don't know what I just said. They have no idea.
Yeah, no, right.
Put in perspective.
Right. So this is you're talking about the ballot initiative, correct? That they're trying to put. You're talking about the ballot initiative, right?
Yeah, there's two things going on. We know this is there's a bill that's in committee that'll probably be in 2024 that they figure at the end of that session that we're in right now, that's when they eventually would get it out of committee and have a vote on it. I don't think we stopped it from happening last time, didn't go anywhere, but at the same time, they're trying to get an approval by the Attorney General to have a ballot referendum that has to be approved by the Attorney General to put it on the next 2024 election.
And they need like 100,000 people to sign some sort of petition.
That's right. It's not that easy. They got to really be organized. They got to really have them all curated, that the signatures are correct and all that stuff. And then she has to approve the way that they're proposing it too. It has to be constitutionally correctly worded and things of that sort. So you brought up an interesting fact. The fact of the matter is the month of November, the entire month of November is to be set aside for Native American heritage, Indigenous Peoples heritage. Why in the heck do they need a day in addition to a whole month? In fact, I got the bill right here is under Bush the Elder that the National American Indian Heritage Month was actually passed and authorized by the president, proclaimed as National American Indian Heritage Month. And going all the way up to Obama, even 2008, I think they made a different resolution, but it was the same thing. And their purpose, I think what they worded was to make it understood that this would be discussed in our schools, give a recognition to the Native Americans, that we understand their culture. This is how they're trying to bring attention. The entire month of November and the day after Thanksgiving. That proclamation comes out every year. And you know who ignores it more than anybody? Is the media. So if they wanted to promote it and take a position and say something that bring the public to attention, and it would undermine this political effort to get rid of Columbus Day. So they just shut up about it besides.
Yeah. They want to divide it. They want to divide us. That's the whole idea. That's what they want.
Part of the news media's tactic is not what they say; it's what they don't say.
Exactly right. Exactly. Because we bring that up, and it's silence on the other end. And so they want that Columbus Day controversy to divide, to pit the Italians against the Native Americans. Two groups, by the way, that never had any problem with each other for their history. Because when all that stuff was going on, when you had those Indian battles in our history at the 19th century, the Italians weren't even here. They weren't even here yet.
That's right. That's right. And that's why it's so insensitive, because they're picking on another group that really cares about their heritage as much as theirs, and was also part of an oppressed group that had to fight and struggle for their recognition in this country called the United States of America. Just like the Indians have fight, just like the African Americans, just like the Irish, the Polish, the Greeks, the whatever minority group that they gone through the process of being assimilated and having the social justice and due process that we all deserve. There's always been a lot of bigotry in the United States, and I recognize that. But damn it, I know that there's a lot of people I know that have made some mistakes and faults, but they're still wonderful people.
Right.
I never throw them under the bus because of a mistake. Our history, we got our blemishes. In fact, we're doing a presentation on Sacco and Vanzetti in my North End Historical Society on next week, and they're executed in 1927. And they were executed basically because of bigotry and prejudices and never got a fair trial. It's not even a question whether they're guilty or not. They didn't get a fair trial to even evidence was left out. The judge hated Italians at that time. They thought they were all communists and anarchists, and that there was somebody that was not worthy of being respected in the United States of America. It was that real red threat was going on back then with the Bolshevik Revolution. They were treated like crap. And, so we know what it's like to be oppressed, but we're not going to fight for our due justice by taking it away from another group like the Native Americans are doing. It's just wrong. Wrong.
I get the feeling too the Native Americans are almost kind of like used as a pawn in this instance, because there's other people out there that want to take down America. This is their opportunity to get this group front and center to try and make this argument. But really, it's the people behind them, whoever it is, they're the ones that really want to destroy the United States more than anybody. And it's just a sad situation all around, but it is what it is.
And a lot of young people have a good heart, and they hate when they read history of the pain that was caused to other people because of the brutality of humanity. It's not the United States, and they think that they have a legitimate reason to be upset. No one's arguing that there was a reason to feel like your history, someone got maybe screwed. But to say today, you now have to screw somebody else to make up why somebody else got screwed, and not have anywhere the same sensitivity about the past for somebody that you're doing it to today. I don't get it. They just don't. Is that the way you try to prove you're a good person, by defending the people of the past that bad things happened to them? That's more about you looking like a good guy and playing the I'm a virtuous person role.
I mean, I learned early in life, you don't rob Peter to pay Paul. You don't hurt somebody because you've been hurt or whatever it is, or to equalize something else that's gone wrong. So it's bizarre. It's totally bizarre. You learn that in the playground, right? You don't steal Johnny's toy because your toy got stolen or whatever it is. You just kind of keep things real, basically. So
and fair, and to be fair, really, to just honestly be fair. This is all about social justice. Well, fairness has a lot to do with that, and there's a lot of things that are being done here unfairly. And honestly, it's mostly because people are not thinking this through well enough, and that's what we work very hard to educate people and to give this kind of an understanding, like you and I are talking about here, to look at it from a way that maybe people haven't stopped to think about it.
Well, so what's going on? So what's going to happen in the future? You have you're going to go and attend this. You want what do you want the people to do to help you in this instance?
Right now, I just got an update email from the director of the Committee of Administration Regulations. That's where that bill is. They have an October 3rd hearing scheduled right now. and I just found out only a week prior to it happening, they will announce on their website, that everybody looks at a website all the time. We just saw, we won't even probably be in the newspaper, that they just want to like sneak it in here.
Right.
And then we can have, then you submit, you'd like to have a moment to be a speaker. You'll go there in person. It's going to be at the State House. They're so upset now, truly. They actually have to have citizens actually come to the State House. They were so happy when the pandemic was on. They didn't have anybody come and bother them at all. In fact, they didn't even show up.
Yeah.
They could stay home.
Yeah, right.
It was such a joke. So now we have to actually go to the State House where we can have a voice. And then they'll invite people to send emails in to take a position for or against whether this bill should be voted upon. So right now, that's what we're going to. So we're going to get people to be aware of it prior to that, send in emails, take a position, let them know you're not in favor of this, and then we'll hopefully line up as many speakers as possible to counterattack the opposition.
And also for the ballot referendum, once if that does get approved by the Attorney General, then they're going to have to go out and collect names. Yeah. How long do they have to do that? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know that how long it takes to get. Probably is a deadline, but because it's not until 2024, I think there's a lot of months involved here. But I think we'll probably know if from the Attorney General office. I think they had 30 days to. First of all, they all had to get them in sometime in August. This was a deadline. Then they submit them, and now I think the AG's got 30 days to say, okay. Yours is okay. Up. They get, there's 42 people that asked to have ballot initiatives.
Yeah, right. There's tons of them. Right. Yeah, I saw a lot of
all 42.
Yeah,
I have to spend a half hour at the voting booth to get through making my checks. And then after you read some of them, they're so convoluted, you don't know if you said yes, if that was for or against it. You know how they do the double negative?
Yeah, right. Exactly. You think you're voting for something, but actually voting against something. The way they worded it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they confused you on purpose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
We've all lived through that one.
Yeah, that's the way it's done. It's very sneaky, but yeah, that's good that you're there to make sure to figure all this stuff out, so that to inform people so that they make the right decision.
And if we have we're really so determined to help to educate people and get a different narrative out there. We're even looking at perhaps doing something public speak to get more information out to the public just before Columbus Day or this hearing, so that they can hear some other narrative. Because we hope to get things in the newspaper, get interviewed, get on radio stations. Because I've done that already. I've probably been on 3 radio stations in the past, and just so I can express my opinion and have people hear a different point of view.
No, that's great. Well, I'm really happy to hear that. One of the people who sponsored this legislation she's from Northampton. And I'm curious to know, that's where Smith College is. Smith is where my 2 sisters graduated from. I'm just curious if there was a professor there that's an expert on Columbus. Maybe he would have a whole different view than what she's purporting it to be. You know what I'm saying? If we get people from the colleges who've studied Columbus, who know the real story, and maybe they can step up to the plate and then tell people that he's not this villain that everybody makes him out to be.
Well, you know about what's her name, Carol Delaney.
I interviewed her, right? Yeah,
Stanford. You interviewed her. She's a professor in archaeology and history, and she wrote a wonderful book. She's an example that counted what our good old friend Howard Zinn was all about. You have another historian, which is Mary Graber. She just takes his whole point of view apart. You did a wonderful job. You read my thing about scapegoating. And
sure, right.
He took 8 pages in his entire book to demonize Columbus, and that's what everybody speaks about. Is it not a whole book, but 8 pages? And so and then here's another guy, Christopher Columbus, the hero, Rafael Ortiz.
Okay? Yeah, he's great. Yeah, Rafael Ortiz is great.
He's from Puerto Rico. He's from his native language is Spanish, and his relatives are the Taino tribes, etc., that Columbus first encountered and got along with marvelously.
Sure.
I don't even think that he was even friendly to them, according to the crap that you have to listen from: genocide, rapist, pedophile. I mean, these are the words they throw around, and he made an alliance with them right away in his first voyage. And one of the chief, I can never pronounce the guy's name, starts with a G, and they became friends. And when the second voyage coming back, he found out that his chief was already under attack by another chief, and then plus the Caribs were already attacking and capturing and taking back the Taino tribes to the other islands like Jamaica, etc. And they were cannibals, and they were more hostile. And he basically made a military pact with them and defeated the Caribs. And those are the ones that he captured and made prisoners of, that they called slaves.
Yeah.
When you have a battle, they did enslave people as prisoners.
Right.
Slavery was an institution back then, 600 years ago.
It was all over the place.
So when they make reference to that, they think that he was running around, let's get as many slaves as possible. He was not. He was a Jacques Cousteau. He was an explorer. He was not a conquistador.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, they don't see. I can kill them. They have no idea what they're talking about. They don't even know the distinction between people like that. He was an explorer, and I think Jacques Cousteau was the perfect person. And you know what? Jacques Cousteau made money doing that, and he had to underwrite it because the guy couldn't do it on his own. So he had sovereign nations, or he had what do you call, trust or something to support him. And you know what? He always got a piece of the action. Besides, oh my God, Columbus actually got 10% of whatever he could find over there. How could he ask for such a thing? You know, the man was risking his life. That's the deal he made with the sovereigns of Spain. They make it sound like, oh, how dare you? Hey, Fauci made more money out of his pandemic with royalties in the last for 50. They get 58 royalty checks that guy got from his thing, and they have no qualms with that. Of course, that's wrong. Besides, I'm sorry, I get crazy.
Well, I was going to say, even Karl Marx got a commission. Even Karl Marx.
Oh, that just drives me crazy. I'm just saying, can I give you enough analogies how you think this is okay, and you're trying to make this man Columbus? He's a hero.
Right. Yeah, it's just
courage. Nobody did what that man did.
No.
Nothing. They didn't have the guts to do it. They didn't have the knowledge on how to be a navigator.
They couldn't do it today. I mean, if somebody took a sailboat, probably couldn't even make it from.
You know, to your point, people have done his exact same journey, and they are absolutely blown away how this guy did it without any of the instruments that they have.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, Tommy, we want to help you as much as we can. You're doing a great job there with the Italian American Alliance. I'll put links in the description so people can link up to help. It's always, you guys need money, you guys need help, support, particularly folks in Massachusetts, Italian Americans in Massachusetts. Please get involved. Save Columbus Day. Help these guys out. They're doing heavy lifting, and they need all the help they can get. So, Tommy, I'll give you the last word.
No, that's it. If we make a strong statement and don't see, our problem, of course, is that you've heard the expression, you're fighting City Hall, and the politicians, they think they have to go where the vote's coming from. And if they have a progressive mindset that they have for citizens, even if they agree with what you and I are talking about, I've seen them say, well, I can't vote and support you because I might lose my job. That's somewhat the reality we end up dealing with. Truth and honesty and that's facts. Let's say truth and facts. Let's not discuss those. That will mess up what we really want to have happen over here, and that's unfortunate.
Well, God bless your work, because it's not easy. Not easy dealing with City Hall. It's not easy dealing with the state legislature. I mean,
it's what it comes down to. You know, we want to be. We are trying to be the truth tellers and try to help people understand this. So,
all right, great. Well, thank you very much, Tommy, and God bless you. Keep us updated, please. I'll try to get the word out also again to help you guys out as much as possible. We're all rooting for you. So definitely, your fight's our fight.
Thanks so much, Troy. Appreciate you.
All right,
taking the time.
Thanks, Tommy.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.